What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fresh Review. If you're new to the channel, what we do here, we review each and every game of the 2024 NFL season. This is our Week 17 review. In the background, I have some Madden gameplay. A while considered to be the game of the week. The Denver Broncos take on the Cincinnati Bengals. But without further ado, let's begin with the first game that happened. It happened on Christmas Day. It was the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this was a tough schedule for all four teams that played on Christmas Day because the NFL had them play Sunday, then Saturday, then Wednesday on Christmas Day. So short weeks, and you got bad games. The Kansas City Chiefs being the Steelers here, 29-10. The Chiefs led this game wire to wire. They had a great performance here from Mahomes, 320 passing yards, 3 passing TDs. He did really well against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Kelsey caught 8 catches, 84 receiving yards in the TD. Worthy is right there with him. 8 catches, 79 yards in the TD as well. On the ground, neither Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco got anything going for the most part. They both averaged 3 yards per carry or less, but Kareem Hunt did get the TD there, and they won this game very decisively. You go look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, though. They are in disarray. They're on a losing streak here. They're falling, and the question is, do you make the switch back to Justin Fields? Russell Wilson, 0 TDs this game, 205 passing yards, and an interception. They got the Cincinnati Bengals next week in a must-win game for the Cincinnati Bengals. I expect for the Steelers to lose that game as well. If Russ is on this losing streak going into the playoffs, you have to figure they're going to lose again in the playoffs. So that happens. Do you make the switch next year to Justin Fields? Which one of the quarterbacks come back? I have no idea, but they got to get this together, and they got to do it ASAP, or else their season could definitely be over sooner than they hope for. On the running game, though, they did have solid performances by Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. They both broke 20-yard runs and both had 70 rushing yards on really efficient carries. And then for them to get George Pickens back this week, he goes for 3 catches, 50 yards. And Pat Freiermuth leads the way with 7 catches, 60 yards. So I thought this game was bad. Plus, it was on Netflix, so I got to give it a bad rating. I'm giving it a 25 out of 100. If you guys didn't have Netflix and didn't see these games, you didn't miss anything. Now, we go over to the next game. Baltimore Ravens, Houston Texans. This final score was 31-2. You don't see that score very often. 2 points. That's all the Texans got here. They got a safety. On a run play to Derrick Henry. And what did they get from C.J. Stroud? 185 passing yards, of course, 0 touchdowns. They also got an interception. Stroud got sacked 5 times this game. Joe Mixon didn't get much going on the ground. Less than 3 yards per carry, 26 rushing yards for him. And then Nico Collins led the way. John Mechie filling in for Tank Dell, stepping up. 5 catches, 48 yards there for John Mechie, but Nico led the way with 3 catches, 59 yards there. Now we go over to the flip side. We got Lamar Jackson. He only had 168 passing yards, 2 passing TDs, but he broke a 48-yard TD run down the right sideline early in the third quarter. That made it 24-2. Ended the game right then and there for the most part. And he finished with 4 carries, 87 rushing yards, and that TD to go along with those passing yards. So solid game here by him, but they didn't need him to do much in the fourth quarter. They even brought in Josh Johnson. Derrick Henry, though, 27 carries, 147 rushing yards, and a TD. So solid game here by Derrick Henry, though he did get tackled in the end zone for the safety. And then Mark Andrews, only 2 catches. One of them went for 1 yard. That was a TD. The other one went for 67 yards. It was a nice catch and run down the sideline. Lamar extends the play like he always does. Finds Mark Andrews. Perfect touch pass to get it over the defender's head. Mark Andrews able to catch it, run down the right sideline, stiff arm the defender, and get a whole lot of extra yards after the catch. But 31-2 here. Another really bad game. I'm giving this one a 21 out of 100. But now we're going on to what's one of the worst games of the year. The Seattle Seahawks take on the Chicago Bears. Thursday night football game. The final game for Amazon Prime. Again, Amazon Prime is one of those subscription things, so I feel bad for NFL fans. Thankfully, I'm blessed where I can pay for all these subscriptions and stuff. And we kind of have a lot of them for other reasons. But you got to have Netflix. You got to have NFL Sunday Ticket or NFL Red Zone. Then you got to have ESPN Plus. You got to have Disney Plus. You got to have Amazon Prime. You got to have all this nonsense to watch these games. But trust me, you did not have it this week. You did not miss anything. The Seattle Seahawks win this game against the Chicago Bears 6-3. In the game the Seahawks need to win, they give you 6 points. I thought this game could have been decently entertaining. I know it's cold, windy in Chicago. Not a great environment, but 63 is really, really bad. Geno Smith goes for 160 passing yards. Noah Fant leads the way with 4 catches, 43 yards. Zach Charbonnet fills in for Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet finishes with 15 carries, 57 yards. There is no touchdowns in the game. It is all field goals. A bunch of fumbles as well. You go look at the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams throws his first interception since like week 7 or 6. I can't remember which. But first interception in a very long time. And the interception that sealed the game, he threw it to Tariq Woolen. He finished 122 passing yards, 0 TDs, 1 interception. DeAndre Swift on the ground, 12 carries, 53 yards. DeAndre Swift is just whatever, right, on the ground. And then DJ Moore actually led the way. DJ Moore kind of been silent for the most part of the season. I think Keenan Allen been the number 1 wide receiver for this team, especially on the red zone. Roma Dunze been solid from on some weeks, but DJ Moore leads the way here. 6 catches, 54 yards. The next closest wide receiver was Keenan Allen, 5 catches for 25. You guys remember the Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the LA Rams, the second one, where it was like 6-3 and Tom Brady got the game-winning drive? That's how bad this game was, but there was no game-winning drive. If you like special teams, you might like this game. If field goals and punts tickle your pickle, hey, this game is right for you. Unfortunately, that's not what tickles my fancy. I'm going with an egregious score here. 9 out of 100, one of the worst games of the year. Now we got Chargers take on the New England Patriots. And this game was a shellacking. The Chargers won this game 40-7. Justin Herbert, 281 passing yards. They clinch a playoff spot. 3 passing TDs. They also get J.K. Dobbins, 19 carries, 76 rushing yards, and a TD. So good to see J.K. Dobbins back. No Gus Edwards this game. And then Ladd McConkey, the number 1 wide receiver for this team. He has another big week here. 8 catches, 94 yards, 2 TDs. And one of those TDs come on a perfect pass by Justin Herbert. Ladd actually burnt the defense deep. So, he had solid speed coming out of college. You knew he could run any route, inwards, outwards, in-breaking, out-breaking, anything, double moves. He got it all. Just straight speed here. Great ball here by Justin Herbert. And the Chargers, they look solid. They really do on all aspects. They shut down the Patriots for the most part. Drake May only goes for 117 passing yards. He does get a passing TD. It's a great ball. He threw to Demario Davis. Demario Davis led the way with 4 catches, 46 yards. And that TD was a 36-yard reception. On the ground, Ramondre Stevenson doesn't get much workload. They actually lean on Antonio Gibson here, who gets 12 carries, 63 yards. So, not a very entertaining game, but there are some solid plays. I'm going to give it a bad score as well. I'm going to give it a 23 out of 100. But now we go on to our game of the week, the one you see in the background. The Denver Broncos take on the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is a must-win game for both teams. The Broncos win this game, they clinch a playoff spot. If they lose this game, they have to go on next week and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Luckily for them, the Kansas City Chiefs had clinched the 1 seed, so the Chiefs may rest starters next week. We'll have to wait and see. But the Cincinnati Bengals, they need to win this game to even have a shot to make the playoffs next week. They have to win again against the Steelers and need the Broncos to lose against the Chiefs. And they will also need the Miami Dolphins to lose, perhaps. But we go ahead and start with this game. We win to overtime. But let's fast forward to the fourth quarter. It's a tie game, 17-17. The Bengals are marching down the field. The Bengals score a touchdown, but the question is, did they leave too much time? They left the Broncos a minute 20 in a timeout. I heard some people saying the Bengals should not have scored a touchdown on that play. Well, you can't guarantee you get the touchdown. You just take a knee or anything and then try again on third down. So let's say they don't score. They would have gave the Broncos no timeouts, slightly less than 40 seconds to go down and get a field goal range. If they did end up scoring on third down, the Broncos had just burnt their final timeout, but it still have been about 1 minute and 15 seconds, 1 minute 20 seconds, whatever. So I mean, I do approve of the decision to go ahead and score the touchdown. Now, we go fast forward. The Bengals score the touchdown. They're up by 7. The Broncos, 1 minute, 20 seconds. Got to go down the length of the field. Got to get a touchdown. They only got one timeout. It's fourth down, 4th and 1. Bo Nix, he rolls out right. He throws it up to Marvin Mims, who goes up in traffic over 2 defenders. Snags it, brings it in. They get the touchdown that makes it 23-24. They review it. It's close on the replay. We got Kevin Harlan going crazy on the call. It's pure pandemonium. The call stands 23-24. The Broncos elect to kick the PAT. They tied the game up 24-24. I think the Broncos should have went for two. Just steal the game. Just steal the game. You got the momentum. The Bengals, they're in disarray. The defenders that just got snagged on, they can no longer play defense. Their girl just broke up with them via text. They have no idea until they get back to the locker room. You're going to be like, hey, babe, I'm sorry. You just got snagged on. My mom was watching. She lost all respect for you. My girls hit me up. They were like, oh, you need to dump him right now. I'm like, you're right. So it's over with. I will see you in court for the child support. That's what need to happen. Just go for two in the game. No, what do? They decide to go for overtime. The Bengals win the coin toss. They want the ball first. Go down the field, get a touchdown. No, they get stopped. They got to punt. Denver. Now all y'all got to do is go down the field and get a field goal. Third down. Bo Nix sees Troy Franklin open. Overthrows him. Would have been a big play. Would have got him close to midfield. Would have got him closer to field goal range. They got a punt. So the Bengals get the ball back. What do the Bengals have to do? Just go down, get in field goal range. They do exactly that. They kick the game-winning. Nope, the field goal doinks off the upright. So the Broncos get the ball back, and now they got a chance to go get the game-winning field goal. They go 3 and out with the quickness. Like you went, used the restroom, you would miss their possession. I kid you not. With the quickness, they out of there. Bengals, they got a chance. They got the ball now. But instead of the Bengals trying another field goal, they say bump all that. Let's go ahead. Feed T. Higgins his whole drive. Since I'm playing him in fantasy, I got to get T. Higgins to have the best game of his career against me. 40-plus points there by T. Higgins. He has a tremendous game. But they go down the field feeding T. Higgins, and T. Higgins get the game-winning touchdown, 3-yard catch. Instead of kicking a 20-yard field goal, they said, nope, we're going for the touchdown. They end up getting it. So, what a game this was. I'm giving it a legendary score, 100 out of 100. Now, we go over to the performances, which were out of this world. Joe Burrow, 412 passing yards, 3 passing TDs. He got sacked 7 times. He got up every time and still delivered. Chase Brown, 20 carries, 67 rushing yards. He unfortunately did get injured at the end of the fourth quarter. So we had to see what his status is next week and in the playoffs, if they do make the playoffs. But Joe Burrow also got a touchdown on the ground, so he's a potential cover athlete. But I had to go somebody else since we already had Jamar Chase one. We already got one Cincinnati Bengal. Due to tiebreakers, got to go Tampa Bay Buccaneer this week. But he also had 4 carries, 25 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. If you look at the receiving, Jamar Chase, 9 catches, 102 receiving yards. Mike Gesicki, 10 catches, 86 receiving yards. But T. Higgins, best game of his career, 11 catches, 131 receiving yards, and 3 receiving TDs. He also fumbled and lost the fumble. But, I mean, when you get 3 TDs, including the game winner, nobody's worried about the fumble. Now we go look at Bo Nix. He had 3 passing TDs, 219 passing yards, and 1 interception. One of those passing TDs, of course, is the game time one to Marvin Mims. He also had 31 rushing yards on the ground. Jaleel McLaughlin led the way for them on the ground with 10 carries, 69 rushing yards. Marvin Mims, the guy that caught the TD, that's his second TD of the game. His other one came earlier in the game, both in the fourth quarter, so both of them were clutch. It's a 50-yard TD bomb he caught from Bo Nix. Perfect throw by Bo Nix. Put it right on the money. Mims caught it in stride in the back of the end zone. Mims burnt everybody on the defense. And then Cortland Sutton caught the other TD. He finished with 5 catches, 55 yards in that TD as well. So, phenomenal game. One of the best games of the year. 100 out of 100. Yeah, everything you want for in a game like this. Had the stakes and playoff implications. Had the plays, the highlight plays, the great performances by the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. It had defense. It had turnovers. It had plot twists, lead changes, had everything. Loved this game. Very entertaining to watch. But now we go on to our next game, which is a divisional rival matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the LA Rams. The LA Rams win this game. They clinch a playoff spot because they win their division. If the Cardinals lose this game, they get better draft pick because the Cardinals are already eliminated from playoff contention. But this game was actually great. So, Kyler Murray, 321 passing yards, 1 passing TD, 2 interceptions. That 1 passing TD went to who? Trey McBride. He finally gets his first receiving TD on the year. He had a TD earlier in the year where he recovered a fumble. That doesn't count. If you have 100 catches, 1,000 yards, and 0 TDs, you're going down in infamy. It doesn't matter about that rushing TD that you... Nah. Doesn't count. But he finally gets that TD. He had 12 catches, 123 receiving yards in that TD. But Kyler tried to hit him for another TD at the goal line. He threw a hot So McBride turned his head, wasn't ready for the ball. It goes off his helmet or off his hands, goes into the air, and Witherspoon gets the interception for the Rams, and that ends the game. So Akilo Witherspoon, my apologies. He gets the game-winning interception. Cameron Kitchen gets the other interception on Kyler. Michael Carter led the way for this team because Trey Benson was injured, and I think James Conner also got injured as well. He's banged up going into this game. So Michael Carter fills in, 13 carries, 70 rushing yards. So solid game there. Marvin Harrison Jr. also had a solid game, 6 catches, 96 yards for him. So solid game there by the Cardinals offense. But we got on the flip side, we got the Matthew Stafford-led LA Rams. Stafford, 189 passing yards, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions. But even though Stafford didn't have a great game, Puka Nacua did. 10 catches, 129 receiving yards for Puka. Cooper Kupp, 1 catch, 29 yards. So right now there is no doubt who the alpha wide receiver for this team is. It is 100% Puka Nacua. And Kyron Williams on the ground, solid running back in his own right, solid player on this team. 13 carries, 56 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. So they win this game 13-9. They clinch a playoff spot. The Rams can rest their starters next week and prepare for the playoffs. I thought this game truly was a great game, though. I'm giving it an 87 out of 100. Came down to the final drive, the final seconds. Had some bad plays and not too crazy type performances, but still, truly was a great game. Now we're going on to our next game, which is the Sunday slate of games. So all the games that were from Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Bengals, and Cardinals, Rams happened on Saturday. Now we're back to the Sunday slate, our original scheduled programming, and we're going to start with the New York Jets take on the Buffalo Bills. And as you would expect, the New York Jets get smacked yet again. The Buffalo Bills clinch the 2 seed with a 13-3 record. If the Chiefs would have lost, then the Bills would have been in contention for the 1 seed. But now with a 13-3 record, you got to figure the Bills probably rest their starters next week. There's nothing for them to play for. And they can gear up for the playoffs. Josh Allen, 182 passing yards, 2 passing TDs. He also gets the rushing TD as well. And then James Cook, another rushing TD for him. James Cook is approaching nearly 20 rushing TDs, or total TDs on the season. You know, James Cook is one of those players. He doesn't even get that much of a red zone workload, and Josh Allen vultures a lot of TDs, and he still has so many touchdowns on the year. So James Cook, an absolute phenomenal season he's having. Now, receiving-wise, Amari Cooper, solid game here for him. 3 catches, 56 yards, and a receiving TD. But the Bills are up 33-0, so let's go ahead and pull the starters. Let's bring in Mitchell Trubisky. Let's just throw a wide receiver screen to Tyrell Shavers. You probably never heard of Tyrell Shavers. I haven't either. This is his man's first catch. He took a screen 69 yards from the Jets. They had no interest in tackling. Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable. So, I mean, the Bills go up 40-0. The Jets get a couple garbage time scores to make it 40-14. But Aaron Rodgers didn't even get those 14 points. They had to bring in T-Mobile to go get those. Because Aaron Rodgers is doing nothing. He wasn't sprinting. It was all crickets from him. 0 TDs, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 1.2. Tyrod Taylor, though, 83 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. So, solid game there by Tyrod Taylor. You want to call it that? I'm not sure you even want to or not. But Garrett Wilson got one of the TDs. Tyler Conklin got the other one. Garrett Wilson finished with 7 catches, 66 yards, and a TD. He led the way for them. Devontae Adams had 5 catches, 47 yards, and Tyler Conklin, one of the best games of the season for him. 8 catches, 57 yards, and 1 TD. Now, rushing-wise, Breece Hall had 10 carries, 45 yards. They brought back Breece Hall. I don't know why. I'm at the point right now the Jets should just deactivate the whole team. Maybe move to a different location. I don't know what the Jets can do. But this has been a dumpster fire. And I think it all started when they fired Robert Saleh. But that's a whole different story. But this 40-14 game, let's go ahead and talk about it. I thought this game was horrendous. Egregious. One of the worst of the year. And I'm giving this one a 9 out of 100 as well. Now we're going on to our next game, which is the Las Vegas Raiders take on the New Orleans Saints. Brock Bowers, history-making performance here for him. He had 7 catches, 77 yards. So, on the season, that gave him 108 catches and 1,144 receiving yards. That passes Mike Ditka's total receiving yards in the season for a tight end, a rookie tight end that is. And it passes Puka Nacua's 105 catches, the most reception in NFL season by any player. by any rookie. My apologies. So Brock Bowers, 108, 1144 yards, great season, and he can even expand on that next week. The Raiders won this game 25-10. Now, not only did Brock Bowers have a good game, so did Amir Abdullah, 20 carries, 115 yards for him, and Aiden O'Connell, 242 passing yards, 2 passing TDs. And to go along with that, Jacoby Myers had 5 catches, 61 receiving yards, and a receiving TD as well. So now we go to the Saints. Spencer Rattler got the start again. He had 218 passing yards, 1 passing TD, 2 interceptions. He let the one on the ground, though. There was no Alvin Kamara this week. You guys think they're probably going to deactivate him for the year. So Kendrick Miller, I thought was going to get a larger workload. They signed Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde leads the way in carries. He had 5 carries for 20 yards. Kendrick Miller, only 3 carries for 3 yards. But Spencer Rattler leads the way for him on the ground. 3 carries for 46 yards. Now, receiving wise, it's tough to judge Spencer Rattler. I know I kind of violated you by not even reviewing the performances last week in that Packers vs. Saints beatdown. But it's tough to really assess Spencer Rattler's performance when, truth be told, I didn't like him coming out of college. I thought there was a reason he went as a late round draft pick. And I want to say, yeah, I was right, whatever, But he doesn't have much help here. Now, I say that because their O-line isn't that great. But then they're missing Chris Olave, who's out for the year. They're missing Rashid Shaheed, who's out for the year. And, it's not a great spot. They don't have Alvin Kamara to help them out. So, Juwan Johnson leads the way with 6 catches, 66 yards. And Foster Moreau gets the 1 TD from him. He had 3 catches, 47 yards, and TD. But when your wide receivers are MVS, Dante Pettis, like Cedric Wilson Jr., these are like journeyman wide receivers and stuff. I can't even fault them. Right, this is a tough situation to come in here and succeed. But the final score was 10-25, and at halftime was 10-13. So the Saints were kind of in there. They just got shut out in the second half. But this game was really bad. There's no other way to put it. I can't even sugarcoat it. I'm giving it a 21 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, which was an absolute shocker. So the Colts were playing for a potential playoff spot. They need some help and stuff, but they could have made the playoffs. They lose to the New York Giants in a game that is 33-45. And what a game this was. The Giants were up for most of the game, but the Colts were never really out of it. The Giants would go up by multiple scores, but then the Colts would score a touchdown to cut into the lead, make it a one-score game. The Giants would score another touchdown. The Colts would score a touchdown. It kept going back and forth until time pretty much ran out. At the end of the game, the Colts turned the ball over twice, and that pretty much sealed their fate. But the final score was 33-45, and I want to talk about the Giants' performance here first because Drew Lock about near got a cover athlete. I'm not sure who would have ever clicked on the video if I put Drew Lock there, but he was definitely in the conversation again. A cover athlete here. We don't discriminate based on views. We get everybody a fair shot, depending on if they have a teammate that's in there or not. So the Giants didn't have a teammate or any player, but I mean it's the first time Drew Lock kind of got snubbed, so you had to just sorry Drew Lock, got to go to Baker. We snubbed him already. But Drew Lock, 309 passing yards, 4 passing TDs. Great game here by Drew Lock, 0 sacks. The O-line kept him clean. Great game here by Drew Lock. Tyrone Tracy on the ground, 20 carries, 59 rushing yards. But Malik Neighbors might have had his best game of the season. He didn't have the volume like that, but he had the efficiency and the production. 7 catches, 171 receiving yards, and 2 receiving TDs. One of those TDs was a 59-yard catch and run. He caught a 5-yard curl route, split the defenders, and then outran everybody down the right sideline to go get the TD. It looked very Jamar Chase-like. How Jamar Chase would make a defender or two miss, and then just use his speed to just burn by everybody. That's exactly what it looked like. But he wasn't alone in production. Rondell Robinson, Mr. Consistency, 5 catches, 71 yards, and a TD as well for Rondell. And Darius Slayton got the other TD. Now we're going to look at the Colts, though. Season's over. Anthony Richardson didn't play this week due to injury. Joe Flacco stepped in. Joe Flacco had 330 passing yards, 2 passing TDs, and 2 interceptions. On the ground, Jonathan Taylor has another big week. So back-to-back big weeks for Jonathan Taylor. Maybe should have dropped the ball earlier, right? And he dropped the ball earlier and then just got motivated to play again, redeem himself. Hey, Colts might be in the playoff conversation because Jonathan Taylor kind of been hit or miss this year, at least compared to what we see him do in the past. But he had 32 carries, 125 rushing yards, and 2 TDs on the ground. Receiving wise, the Colts get 2 players that go over 100 receiving yards. That might be the first time this happened all season. If it's not the first time, it might be the second time. If it's the second time, it's because Joe Flacco did it. Alec Pierce, 6 catches, 122 receiving yards and a TD. Michael Pittman, 9 catches, 109 receiving yards and a TD. So Joe Flacco had 2 interceptions and a turnover, fumble. My apologies, but 2 of those turnovers came really late in the game, where just trying to make some stuff happen. So although he did have a few mistakes, not really too much on him. They just needed to get a stop, and they unfortunately weren't able to do that. Now, I thought this game was a great game. I'm giving it 82 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. That's the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys. And this game was a massacre. I will not lie to you. Even with Kenny Pickett starting in place of Jalen Hurts, it did not matter. The Philadelphia Eagles rolled this team. Kenny Pickett filled in for Jalen Hurts. Kenny Pickett threw for 143 passing yards and a passing TD. He also had a rushing TD on a tush push. So although he don't squat 600, he squats enough. He gets the rushing TD as well. Saquon Barkley on the ground, 31 carries, 167 rushing yards. No TD, unfortunately, for him. But, we're talking about the man has hit 2,000 rushing yards. And we have the 2 seed locked up. The question is, do we play Saquon Barkley in Week 18? Do we go for the record? He joins the 2,000 club. He's one of only 9 players to enter that club. But he only needs 100 yards to go for the title. Does he go for it? Now, as an Eagle fan, I'm going to go ahead and give my quick opinion on this. I think we should rest him. I know it's tough because he's playing his former team as well. So it would be so poetic if he got the title against his former team and all that. Could really stick it to him. But I think we got to be preparing. We got to be looking long term to the Super Bowl. Now, if we don't win the Super Bowl and we don't get the rushing record, it's going to be a horrible, dang, Saquon. At least consolation prize. He gets the rushing record. We don't win the Super Bowl. Right. So that's one way to look at it, but you got to think of injuries. Granted, you could get injured in the plus, whatever. I think we need this rest. A lot of teams you've been playing, our bye week came in week 5, so we've been playing nonstop. It'd be great to get another bye week, rest up, prepare, and do a whole bunch of other stuff. Because Saquon began a large workload, and then to go for that record, he also needed a larger workload. So I think we should rest him. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is the right decision? But we're going to continue talking about this game because we got to talk about Tanner McKee, who came in and threw 2 passing TDs himself. He went 3 for 4 passing, 54 passing yards. Yes, we beat this team so bad. We brought up backup quarterbacks you never even heard of. Tanner McKee throws his first career passing TD to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown does a new move. He gives it to a fan. That is the first TD. He wants that ball. He wants to hang it in his Hall of Fame. He wants to take it to his house, show his parents and all that. He done gave it to a fan. New move, A.J. Brown, new move. But Devontae Smith, 6 catches, 120 yards, 2 receiving TDs for him. He has one of the best games of the season for him. And now we go over to the Cowboys. I want to talk about this. Cooper Rush, 147 passing yards, 1 passing TD, 2 interceptions. Of course, one of those interceptions got to be a pick 6 to who? CJ Gardner Johnson, 69-yard pick 6. And that's actually how the Cowboys started off the game. So they would respond, get a TD right back, but that would be the last time they score. So Cooper Rush threw a TD to us and a TD to one of his boys. That TD went to Jalen Tolbert. After that, Cowboys did nothing else. On the ground, though, Rico Dowdle does go over 100 rushing yards on 23 carries. A solid game again by Rico Dowdle. And he's making it very tough for the Cowboys because when the season started, dang, they don't have a run game, man. They're using Zeke. Dowdle's behind them. Dowdle's probably not good, but they started getting Dowdle more opportunity. He's been producing with the opportunity he has. So, do the Cowboys draft a running back? Maybe. Dowdle did fumble this game, but, who cares? Jake Ferguson fumbled too. The game was over. Game was... I want to give this one an awful score, but I just can't. Just something about the Cowboys just getting beat down. I'm going to give it a well below average. I can't even put it in the bad category. Just the Cowboys getting beat down. I'm going to give that one a 31 out of 100. Let me know if I'm being biased in the comment section. Just the Cowboys getting beat down puts a smile on my face. I'm not trying to lose my integrity, but I just love seeing it. Now we're going on to our next game, which is the Carolina Panthers take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking to clinch a playoff spot. And just realized I've been yapping too much. I'm going to go ahead and hurry up but this game was a beatdown. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you see the cover athlete, 48-14. They handled the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield, 359 passing yards, 5 passing TDs, 0 interceptions, flawless game by near for him. He had 5 TDs, 5 incompletions. That's how you know he was dealing. You look at the ground, Bucky Irving, 20 carries, 113 rushing yards for him. Solid game here by Bucky. He continues to impress running the ball. Wide receiver wise, Mike Evans does what he needs to do. 8 catches, 97 yards, 2 receiving TDs. He is within striking range, again, 1,000 yards on the season. We also look at the other rookie they got, Jalen McMillan, 5 catches, 51 yards, and 2 receiving TDs. Jalen McMillan is a red zone threat. He continues to score touchdowns. So him and Bucky Irving have been tremendous picks for the Tampa Bay front office. Now we go look at Carolina. Bryce Young, 2 passing TDs here, 203 passing yards. Both of those TDs go to Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen finished with 5 catches, 110 receiving yards, and 2 TDs. They deactivated Chuba Hubbard for the rest of the year. No need to rush, continue to use him and have him get injured. He seems like they're going to be their future running back. So Raheem Blackshear gets the start. He only had 8 carries for 20 yards. Again, has some solid highlights. Bryce Young, although they got blown out, didn't look too bad. I'm giving this one a below average score of 44 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, which is the Tennessee Titans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars won this game 20-13. So this is actually a game where both teams actually wanted to lose, but the team that ended up winning was the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Titans will get a better draft pick now. But the Jaguars, Mac Jones got the start here, 174 passing yards, 2 passing TDs. Brian Thomas Jr., another solid game for him, 7 catches, 91 yards, and a receiving TD. He leads the way there. ETN and Tank Bigsby both split carries, and neither one of them are very impressive, and they don't get any TDs on the ground. Now we got to look at the Tennessee Titans. Mason Rudolph gets the start. No Will Levis this week. Mason Rudolph, 193 passing yards, 1 passing TD, 1 interception. Tyjae Spears fills in for an injured Tony Pollard. He has a big week. You add in his receiving workload, he goes over 100 scrimmage yards on 23 touches. Now, Calvin Ridley leads the way for them in the receiving department, 5 catches, 84 receiving yards. The final score was a 20-13 in favor of the Jaguars. They were up all the game. And I'm giving this one a mid score of 50 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, which is the Miami Dolphins take on the Cleveland Browns. This game was a beatdown in favor of the Miami Dolphins. They won this game 20-3. DTR got the start yet again in favor of Jameis Winston on the bench. DTR goes 24 of 47 passing, so barely above 50%. 170 passing yards, 0 TDs, 1 interception. He gives you 10 rushing yards on the ground, so he's okay with his legs. Didn't do anything with his legs this game. Didn't do anything with his arms either. Deontay Foreman led the way for this team on the ground. 13 carries, 49 rushing yards. Jerry Jeudy has another good week, though. 12 catches, 94 receiving yards for him. There's also no David Njoku here. So we go to the flip side. The Miami Dolphins had their tight end, Jonnu Smith. He gets another TD, 3 catches, 26 yards for him. Tyreek Hill goes over 100 receiving yards, 9 catches. Good to see Tyreek Hill can still produce decently. Definitely not what the money's getting paid over there in Miami, but that's a different story. And then passing-wise, Tyler Huntley got the start. Tua was out. Tyler Huntley, 225 passing yards, 1 passing TD. He also leads the team in the rushing department. He has 7 carries for 52 rushing yards and a TD as well. So solid game here by Tyler Huntley filling in. They won this game 20-3. And what I thought was a well below average game, I'm giving this one 34 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. Game that had significant playoff implications on seeding. And could the Minnesota Vikings be fighting next week against Detroit for the 1 seed? Yes. Could they win this game? They beat the Green Bay Packers 27-25. And similar to the last time they played the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings are up multiple possessions. The Packers get a couple TDs late to try to make it a game, but it's just too little too late. The Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold, career game for him yet again. 377 passing yards, 3 passing TDs. He did throw one interception, but who cares when we're having that big of a game. Justin Jefferson leads the way with 8 catches, 92 receiving yards. Naylor, Addison, and Cam Akers all get the other TDs. They all had solid games, including TJ Hawkinson. Aaron Jones leads the way on the ground, 12 carries for 47 yards. Now, Green Bay Packer-wise, Jordan Love, 185 passing yards, 1 passing TD. I kid you not, he wasn't doing anything at halftime. All this stuff, pretty much for the most part, came in the second half. On the ground, Josh Jacobs, 17 carries, 69 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. Emmanuel Wilson gets the other rushing TD. Romeo Dodd leads the way for this team. 7 catches, 58 receiving yards. Jaden Reed, only 1 catch for 6 yards for him. Very disappointing performance here by Jaden Reed. But I thought this game between these two teams, I thought it was a good game. I'm giving it a 70 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next one, which was the Sunday night football game. And this was the Atlanta Falcons take on the Washington Commanders. And this game went to overtime. And this was a pivotal game for both teams, vying for playoff spots. The Commanders won this game and they clinched. Michael Penix gets the start in place of Kirk Cousins, who got benched. Michael Penix, 223 passing yards, 1 passing TD, 1 interception. Bijan Robinson, 17 carries, 90 rushing yards, 2 rushing TDs. Got targeted on this beautiful double move that could have been a big play. Michael Penix overthrows him, though, down the left sideline. That would have been a 70-yard catch. Bijan Robinson did most of his work in the first half. Kind of got contained really well in the second half. So good adjustments there by the Washington Commanders. Drake London, though, 7 catches, 106 receiving yards. Solid game here by Drake London. Kyle Pitts, he comes back alive from the ashes. 4 catches, 44 yards, and a TD. Washington Commanders, who go over there. Jaden Daniels. Right now, he's the rookie of the year for me, even over Brock Bowers, who's having a historic season in his own right. But Jaden Daniels leading this team to the playoffs, doing everything what he needs to do. Game-winning drives, clutch drives, big-time throws. He's doing it all right now. And not only is he doing the passing, like I said, with the 3 TDs passing, he also gets you 16 carries for 127 rushing yards. So he's doing it on the ground as well. He leads the way on the ground for this team. Brian Robinson, 13 carries, 60 yards. Okay game here by Brian Robinson. He fumbled twice last week, didn't fumble this week. So they told him, hold on to that ball. That's exactly what he did here. Now we look at the receiving wise. Olamide Zaccheaus, 8 catches, 85 receiving yards, and a TD for him. And Zach Ertz, the former Eagle, 6 catches, 72 receiving yards, and 2 TDs for him. Terry McLaurin only 1 catch, 5 yards this game. But that's okay. He's been solid for the most part. You can have a bad game. But Michael Penix and the Falcons find themselves down 7 late in the game. About 1 minute left. They need a game-time TD. Michael Penix throws an absolute laser to Kyle Pitts. That was on 4th and goal from their own, from the 13-yard line. So clutch play there. So the Commanders, they're going to go down and get the game-winning field goal? No. They're going to go down, have to punt, and give the Falcons the chance to get the game-winning field goal. Michael Penix gets them in the field goal range. It's a 56-yard field goal. Younghoe Koo, one of the best kickers in the league, unfortunately is not able to make it. Now the game goes to overtime. The Commanders win the coin toss. They march down the field, get the game-winning TD to Zach Ertz. I thought this game was absolutely spectacular. 2 rookie quarterbacks playing at a high level. Very entertaining game. Playoff implications. Spectacular game. 98 out of 100. That, in addition to the Broncos and Bengals game, both will be on my top 25 games of the year. If you guys want to see that video, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm already planning what to do for that video. But we're going on to our Monday Night Football game, and that was the Detroit Lions take on the San Francisco 49ers in an NFC Championship rematch from last year. Of course, the implications aren't that important this year since the Niners are out of the playoffs and the Lions are in it, but it still was a very good game, really entertaining. The final score was 40-34. The Detroit Lions found themselves down, but they would rally coming out of halftime. They were down 13-21. They would rally and outscored the Detroit Lions 27-7 over the Nets, 28 minutes or so. But the 49ers did get a touchdown late to make it a 1-score game. They had to go for an onside kick, which they were not able to recover. So we're going to start with the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, another great game by him. They will be playing for the 1 seed against Minnesota next week, which I expect to be a classic. Jared Goff, 303 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, 0 interceptions. Go look at Jahmyr Gibbs. He's getting a larger workload with no David Montgomery. 18 carries, 117 rushing yards, and a rushing TDs for him. And then their three best wide receivers are pass catchers: Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They all get TDs. They all get 5+ catches and over 60 receiving yards. So balanced game there by the Detroit Lions. We go look at the San Francisco 49ers. We got Brock Purdy. He had 377 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 2 interceptions. Both of those went to Kirby Joseph. So he might have played against Kirby Joseph in like a defensive player league, or Kirby Joseph just might know everything Brock Purdy be thinking. He might be a mind reader of Brock Purdy, but both those interceptions went to Kirby Joseph. But other than that, Purdy had a really solid game. And then receiving wide, Ricky Pearsall. Great game here by the rookie. Love to see that for the future. 8 catches, 141 receiving yards, and a TD. George Kittle also had 8 catches and 112 receiving yards, so both of them go over 100 yards. Isaac Guerrero, 9 catches, 34 yards for him. So I'm giving that one also a great game. I'm giving that a 84 out of 100. Now, that will conclude this video. So as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Sorry I had to re-loop the footage, but thanks for watching.